The more and more I think about it, the more videos that I watch, the more outcomes that I see on Twitter, on the timeline, and what are the best possible options. Growing up is just realizing the Sixers are cooked. Welcome back to Off the Cliff Show, brought to you by 14th and Market Podcast Network. Before we really get into the video, what I'm going to need you to do is hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Y'all been doing great. We are almost at 200 followers, so make sure you are clicking down, you clicking that like button, you smashing that like button, you're hitting that subscribe button. After watching these playoffs, I've just realized something. Every team that is in title contention or on the borderline of winning an NBA championship right now or moving on to the conference finals, they have been together for a really long time. They've been able to build chemistry. They've been able to build continuity. They've been able to be around each other. They've been through these wars. They've been through these fights and battles before. If you look at the Denver Nuggets, that team has been around a long time, won the NBA championship last season. You look at the Boston Celtics, they have been together for a long time, been to the finals, I think 3 years, or they've been to the conference finals 3 straight years. The New York Knicks, they have been together for a while. Looking at the Pacers, they have been together for a little while. Looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves, like they built through the draft, but they have a young core. They're all athletic. They've been together for a little while. And then you look at the Sixers. And this will be what? Joel Embiid's 5th or 6th different team since he's been into the league. Like, completely different team. He's just now finding a co-star, 30 years old. They're going to go into an offseason and try to build another team around him. On top of that, go try to search for another star wing. I just don't see how they can contend, especially with these teams that are in the playoffs currently. I don't think that the Sixers can immediately contend for a title next season or even in the following season. I just don't think that in this new day and age where you just don't build super teams anymore, like everything is kind of built from the ground up. And that even goes with like the Warriors era. They were built from the ground up. Denver last year built from the ground up. Milwaukee, when they won their championship, built from the ground up. I just think the superhero. I just think the super team era is over, and I just don't think you can build like that. I think you have to really put in the time, put in the draft picks, make the right moves in free agency to truly contend for an NBA championship. And like I said, like that's going to take time. I don't see a way that the Sixers can go into this offseason and then come out of it and then say, all right, we are immediately going to contend for an NBA championship. I don't care who's on the roster. You need chemistry, especially in a sport like basketball, where it's 5 players that all have to basically essentially think is one. So if you look at their best possible options coming out of the offseason, right, and we're going to go with the obvious one, they're probably going to offer Paul George a max contract. Now, you offer Paul George the max contract. He not only takes up a max slot, but like we've talked about it before, he is 35 years old and probably going to be on his declining years pretty soon here. I mean, that does kind of fit with the timeline of Joel Embiid. Like, will his knees hold up until he's 32, 33, which is essentially this championship window that the Sixers believe that they still have with him. But is he's not as good as he once was when he was younger. Like I said, you're giving up a max slot, 35 years old, and then you still have to field the team around these 3 players, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George. You still have to field the team. So if you want to just bring Kelly Oubre back, that's fine. If you want to bring like someone else back, that's fine. But it's still going to be like 5 or 6 brand new players that are going to have to learn how to play with Joel. They're going to have to learn how to play with Tyrese. They're going to have to learn how to play with this third star, this third wing that the Sixers want to bring in. They're all going to have to learn how to play with each other. And I do just believe that is just going to take time. And I don't think that they're going to be able to go into an offseason where you acquire all these players, then you got to go into training camp. I just don't think that's going to be enough time for these guys to gel, to truly contend for an NBA title compared to teams, like I said, have been around for a long time and have been around with each other for a very long time, like the Boston Celtics, the Denver Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the New York Knicks, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I just don't think that Sixers have enough time to really catch up to these teams. Now, you could look at it and say, all right, well, the Sixers will be contenders in 3 years. Well, that's another question, because will Joel's knees hold up on him in 3 years? He'll be 33 years old. His body is already failing him. We don't know how his knees are going to look in the next 3 years. Will he still be in his prime? What other ailments will he have on his body? All we're doing is praying for a healthy Joel Embiid playoff run. We don't know what he's going to look like in 3 years, especially as a 7'2" big man. So that's a struggle right there, and what the Sixers have to deal with. Like, how much time do you have left with Joel Embiid being at MVP level? Do you have it? Will he fall off this year? I mean, will he fall off next year? Will he fall off the year following? You just don't know. And these are things that you have to realize when you're trying to build a championship contending team, and how fast you're trying to build it, and what you have to implement in order for them to get the chemistry down, understand continuity, and for them to all be on one string, to where they're like, all right, we know what it takes to win an NBA title, and this is the team that we can do it with. How long does that essentially take? Nobody knows, but it doesn't take a season. And I think we all know that. Even their best possible outcome has some drawbacks to it, because what they could possibly do and what they could probably do, no matter what star as scout, no matter what star that they're able to trade for, they're going to have to give up a majority of their picks to go and get that star, because we all know Philadelphia is not a basketball destination, and they won't have to give up. They're not going to be able to give up cheap assets to acquire a star. They're going to have to give up probably essentially all of their picks. I know they have 5 tradable first round picks. We all know Rudy Gobert went for 6 or 7. So imagine Donovan Mitchell asking out, right? What is it going to take to get him probably all of those picks, plus maybe a sign and trade with a player? Who knows, depending on what other superstar, disgruntled superstar may ask out. I know there's been some talk about Kevin Durant probably asking out, Devin Booker. Like, you just don't know. So you're essentially trading all of your picks to acquire a star now to pair with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's going to take time. It's going to take chemistry. They're going to need to build continuity throughout the roster. So what if you add this superstar, right? And then you go fill out the roster and it just doesn't work. Like, say you go add Donovan Mitchell and you pair him with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, and then you go get the other contributing players and it doesn't work. Like, they just don't fit. What are you going to do? And you wait a year or two. What are you going to do if it still is just not, they're just not figuring it out? What if Donovan Mitchell just doesn't fit? What if whatever superstar they get doesn't fit with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey? What if Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid doesn't fit with the superstar? Now there's nothing you can essentially do to improve the roster, because you've given up all of your tradable assets. You can't really build through the draft anymore. There's no exit plan for the Sixers, right? If this is what they're going to do, they're going to have to go all in. And it's something that I've said the Sixers just simply have not done under Josh Harris. They always try to keep their toe a little bit in, a little bit out of the water, get them good enough to where they can still make money, but never truly be a contending championship team. But like I said, what if it doesn't work out? Now you don't have any picks. You don't know what Joel's needs are going to look like I've already said, in 2 to 3 years. What are you going to do? You can possibly, at that moment, maybe Joel's cooked. Maybe you trade him for like a 2 first round picks. Do you just trade away the star that you traded for 2-3 years ago? Do you trade Tyrese Maxey, or do you completely blow it up and start all over? Like, there is no clean exit plan for the Sixers, and I don't think there's a direct path to them immediately contributing to winning an NBA title. I just don't see it. And this is the reason why I think that they're cooked, because what are they going to do if it doesn't work? And that is the main issue I have with this plan. And no option this offseason is that's it. That's just, there's no option for that. Like, I even talked about possibly getting LeBron James. That's your best option. But the thing of building an entirely new team around 3 different players and hoping that they mesh and hoping that the pieces fit, and then building chemistry, especially with now 3 egos, including Tyrese Maxey, you're going to try to add another star, and then you're going to get that star with Joel Embiid. Like, trying to figure out the 3 egos on top of trying to fit pieces that perfectly fit with them in a year or two, I just don't think that is feasible. I don't think that they can contend for a title immediately, especially looking at these younger athletic teams that have been around for a really long time with each other, and that have been able to build and grow chemistry and then learn each other and then really understand and play like they know what it takes to win an NBA title. So, like I said, growing up is realizing that the Sixers are possibly cooked. It might be the end of the line. It might be at the end of the Joel Embiid era. we just don't currently know. I don't see a smooth exit plan. I don't see a smooth transition to title contention. They might just have to blow it up, but who knows, man.